welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the National Network. When you come to my hometown, Indy, you expect the very best in motorsports, and that's exactly what we have here today. The top NMRO mud racers have gathered, including a guy that we've not seen for a couple of years here on TNN. His name is Mike Thomas, the driver of the Mad Max. In fact, he is the 93 Open Class champion and the present national record holder for 200 feet at a blistering 2.328 seconds. And he's standing by right now with my colleague, Army Armstrong.
You know, in Indy racing, you got Unser and Unser, father and son. NASCAR, you got Petty and Petty, father and son. Well, mud racing is no different, Gary. You got Thomas and Thomas. Enos Thomas, the father, and Mike Thomas standing with me now, your current world record holder. And Mike, you've taken over the driving seat that your dad did such a great job in for so many years. First of all, congratulations on your world record. Second of all, did Dad bring anything with you when he put you in this driver's seat?
Well, we changed the car around a little. You know, Daddy does all the wrenching on the cars, you know, and all I do is really drive, and Mickey helps me a lot, and Mark, and all I really do, Army, is drive, and they, you know, get tips from Daddy on what to do at each track.
Well, I tell you what, Gary, it's kind of interesting. Maybe all he does is drive, but the bottom line, this kid is the world record holder, and once again, it's a phenomenon in motorsports that the family plays such a strong role. Back to you, Gary.
Well, today Mike will be campaigning two cars, his record-setting Mad Max and also the T-Bucket he calls Murphy's Law.
Track is 180 feet long, Gary. The record for this track is a 2.59. And to say it's oversaturated would be an understatement. We have had torrential rains here for the last 4 days. I don't know if they're going to know where the track ends and the mud begins, Gary.
Well, let's quickly bring you up to date now on some of the action we've already had here today. First out of the blocks was Tom Martin in the Mud Patrol.
Again, notice the shutdown area. All the mud you want in a lifetime you'll get today right here.
Here's a look at Rick Milstead, Class 6 competition.
The Class 6 now, see, they run the scooper tires. They get up on the back wheels and really hum on out the other end.
And here is Ron Penson Tater, the 92 NMRO Car of the Year and a Class 6 winner at the Lima event earlier in the year.
Big bounce coming out of the pit, Gary. You notice that?
And here is a look at the Mud Patrol. Tom Means, the 1992 NMRO Open Class Points champion out of Paxton, Illinois.
He and his dad run a gear ratio that nobody else will mess with. They really like to get the engine up there screaming. He goes up against the wild thing, Gary.
Yeah, Jeep Funny Car, Donnie Klink out of Phillipsburg, Ohio.
And Klink, I guarantee you, knows who's sitting to his left. Yo, Mintz told me, he said, you just drive your lane. You don't worry about the other guy. He rolls into the lanes. I want you to notice he is running scooper tires on all four corners. Not everybody can do that.
A good run for Tom Means in Mud Patrol. Look at that, 277. Oh, wow. That'll be tough to beat here on this sloppy track. Donnie's a 377, 1 second slower. As we take a look again, there are the scoopers on the all four corners.
Yeah, we're going to check with him on that. And also is together. He runs a real short axle.
All right, as we take a look at that run, let's go down trackside now and catch up with Tom Means.
All right, here's the number, 277. You're the guy in the lead right now. How does it feel?
It felt pretty good, really. It seemed like it really hooked up hard that time. You know, I'm running 4 paddle tires on this car. And
you can see the after effects of that run. A lot of mud on the driver. We're coming back with more from Indianapolis. The Penda four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Fall Nationals, a part of the B.F. Goodrich Performance Series. Along with Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee as we take a look at Shane Back out of Jeffersonville, Kentucky. He drives the Attitude Adjuster.
Shane won this event in 1990, but he's pulling into the lanes next to a guy that's kind of had a hot hand this year.
Yeah, Money Pit, Fred Wilhite, the 48 Fiat. He's won a few Class 5 events this season.
You know, one thing I like about this sport since we've been covering it for the National Network, the quality of the equipment stepping up, the drivers are stepping up, everything seems to be coming to a point, and this sport is going and growing. Scoopers on the back, cut tires on the front, both vehicles. Right now, the only guy running a 4x4 setup is our quick time Mint, and he's going to stay alive. Meanwhile, we got all kind of problems out there.
All kinds of action.
You take it, Gary.
Well, Shane Back is stuck out in the mud. And Wilhite almost got outside the lane. Shane's been disqualified. He was out of bounds. Well, Fred was also disqualified. So both drivers out of bounds on their run. Here's a good look as they come right at you.
Okay, back hooked the rut right off the bat. Will Height hooked the same rut just a little bit further down the track. Right turn, Clyde, is what they both said when they left the start car.
One more look. Now you're looking at Fred Wilhite. Now watch him veer off to his right, and right there he goes out of bounds. He is out of contention. Let's go to Army.
Fred, why did the car react that way?
It's starting to develop a set of ruts right at the starting line, and I wanted to get away from him, see if I could get a better hook. I got a super hook, but it didn't want to go straight.
As we take a look at the Shane back, that last run reminds us of some wild rides we've seen this season, like this one by Jim McConville in Sedalia, Missouri. And earlier, Army took a look at what may be the force that causes these altercations.
There is a force in motorsport, Gary, as you well know, called torque. Now, what is torque? Torque is very simply, when this engine is under power, it'll have a tendency to turn to the right. That's called the engine torquing. When it makes horsepower, it will turn to the right. Well, setting into frames like this, it has a tendency to take the chassis and tweak it to the right, or make the chassis low to the right. Well, what that does in mud racing, and stay with me on this now, when the pit is only 180 feet long and you're sitting on the starting line with the engine completely level, and in 2 seconds you go full throttle, full torque to the right, load the chassis, and then come out of the pit in the air, what that's going to do when you come off the engine is reverse that torque, make the engine want to lean back to the left. And what that does is dig the left front tire in, and I believe that's what's causing all these guys to flip, because they're coming out of the pit. When they leave the line, they're torquing, flying at the end, and then turning over just like this. I think torque is a major problem. The way you stop it is you tighten the chassis up. You make them more rigid. Back to you, Gary.
Interesting observation, Army. Thank you. There's the Pork Brothers Express. Jeff Ballard is on board. He is out of Mount Sterling, Kentucky, to the south of Indiana.
This is one of the underslung chassis. He's not trying to get ground clearance as he goes up against the hyperactive vehicle.
Mike Yosha driving that one.
Mike, we've seen on the show before when he's not messing with mud racing, involved in riding around Indianapolis, Indiana, your hometown, on his Harley. But right now, it's going to be Kentucky versus Indiana. Boy, if this was only a basketball game.
Yeah. This would be tops.
I'll take the guy from Kentucky.
There's your time to beat. 77. I knew you'd take the guy from Kentucky.
My man.
Pretty good run, too. Mike Yosha having some difficulty there coming out of the pit.
Notice that shutdown area. We talked to you about it. Man, it is just a swamp out of the pit.
2:90 is the time for Ballard. That would be second fast. Mike Yosha will not be happy with that 3:98. Take a look again.
See Yosha's in trouble right off the bat. The underslung chassis, he didn't go in the same grooves as the guy in front of him. He kind of made his own way, is what it looked like to me.
Let's go down trackside.
I got good news for you. 2:903, you're tied for second. Late in the field, how you doing? It's looking good.
I believe the track's going to come right around, and it's looking pretty good. And I need to thank Ronnie Pence and a couple of other racers. Blower bones to Ronnie, and we broke last week, and we just borrowed parts off a bunch of people just to get here.
I'll tell you what, you're looking awful good. Hope it holds out for you.
Thank you, Arnie.
We often question how these guys get the names for their cars. Here's the Richter scale. The driver is Dan Richter in his 32 Ford Roadster with the big 498 blowing Chevy out of Franklin, Wisconsin.
Yeah, if you stand next to this thing, he'll shake the earth for you in a heartbeat. He's going up against who, Gary?
He has Kevin Stone in his topless 32 Vicky powered by a big block Chevrolet.
Yeah, but Kevin's only running a single 4-barrel carburetor, so he's going to be giving away a whole lot of horsepower. But it may not be a horsepower truck. We'll have to wait and see. I think it is.
But, Army, in this sport, you have to use the horsepower to get the car up on top of the mud and keep it on top of the mud, like skimming a rock across the pond.
Exactly, you're exactly right. Whoa, Richter turned into a horsepower hay hauler right there.
I guess so. He couldn't use all the horsepower he had. He'll be disqualified. And, oh, a smoky power plant here. 4 seconds for Kevin Stone.
Neither racer a happy camper after that one.
Take a lot of cleanup and some mechanical work on those vehicles before they race again.
You're exactly right, Gary, but I made an observation I want to point out to you. Hopefully we'll get a replay. Yeah, we got a replay. Look how wide that front end is. The rear end. This vehicle is real wide. Our current leader, Tom Mintz, is a real narrow chassis. That wide chassis is working against him. Ooh. You need straw for your yard, Gary?
Well, that wiped out the timing light right there as well. Dan Richter is finally free of the straw. He heads back to the pit area as we take a look at the leaderboard. Once again, Tom Meents, the Mud Patrol at 277, a pair of 290s tied for second. Rick and Milstead and Blowing Crazy and Jeff Ballard in the Port Brothers Express. Stay with us. We're coming right back to the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis. And welcome back to Indianapolis. There's a look at Mike Thomas in the Mad Max being towed near the starting line. We'll see if he can challenge that 277 laid down by Tom Meents. In the meantime, we'll show you some highlights from earlier in the competition. Robert Marshall, in Beating the Odds, had a great run at a 292. Had a bye run there. Good run, 292. And Jeremy Finley, a man we've seen win before here at Indy in the S-Kicker, turned in a good shot at 2.906, just 300th of a second off the current second-place time held by both Jeff Ballard and Rick Milstead. And Tom Marsh in the Intruder just off the pace with a 291.
Gary, it's just amazing the quick times we're seeing here today on what looked to be a bad track, but mud racers, they go quick in the mud, period.
Well, back to the starting line, we have a couple of guys from Fresno, California. Gary Mink and Bads in the Bone of 54 Willys, and he'll pull alongside. There's a look at Gary. He'll pull alongside Mark Semper in the Chevy pickup Wild Bosco with the big 604 cubic inch Lowen Rodeck. Here are guys from Fresno, California.
Listen, I want you to listen to these engines. These California guys have got a sound all their own. Let's just listen to them. I'll explain it to you.
Well, Wild Bosco didn't have much of a sound there.
But the other guy sounded like he went to the other end real quick. 288.
That's second quick on the leaderboard, 288. But Mark obviously had some problems.
The sound comes to the difference in camshafts that these guys are used to running. They're normally run at sea level. You make a different kind of horsepower at sea level. But today, if you weren't up on a mountain called Indianapolis, it's just like being at sea. That's why they can make so much horsepower this late into the field.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, these engines like this cool, moist air this weekend here in Indianapolis.
Plus, you got the humidity in the air, just like being at the ocean. This is like the old days drag race on Saturday night in California.
He's come a long way from Fresno. Let's talk to Gary Mink.
Gary, I want to tell you something that's unique. If you live 10 miles away from me, would you go race me 1,000 miles away? That's exactly what this guy did. Hey, a 288 put you second quick. Your partner had problems, but, man, you went like a rocket. Congratulations.
Thanks, Army. Thanks. We appreciate it. Yeah, it's amazing to drive this far and end up racing the guy I came with.
You know, you guys could have gone at a local, gone at it back home.
In the backyard is probably where we would have done it.
We're glad to have you here. Hope we see you back east a whole lot more in the future. Thanks a lot for coming.
Army. We appreciate letting us come along.
A long way from the West Coast, but currently Gary Mink sits in second position. Dave Bolster in Live Wire, a Ford frame Jeep body with a 460 cubic inch Ford. There is a look at David from Lancaster, Ohio. He pulls alongside Stanley Trimble in Mr. T's Rat. Now, he is an auto mechanics teacher from Jeffersonville, Kentucky. I bet he has the class's attention.
I'll guarantee you. Yeah, Stanley's a real good old guy. We've had a chance to visit with him quite a few times. When he himself's not racing, he goes with other racers to learn, and he takes that knowledge back and uses his youngsters at his high school, and it's a good way to get their attention. Plus, he'll rock and roll you, right?
Good run he lays down.
Look at the shutdown area.
Has some trouble getting it stopped, though. A 282. That is second quick time.
Yeah. He paid attention in school this week. That's why
he did.
That's right.
There's David's time. So Stanley Trimble will take the second quick outing here this afternoon. Let's take a look again. Coming right at you.
Okay, now he starts off, he has to run in somebody else's ruts, but he gets up right here, really starts making a horsepower. See, front wheel's just skipping over. Back wheels are sticking. Skipping in the front, skipping in the rear.
Second on the leaderboard. Let's go down to a muddy trackside and talk with our teacher. Army?
I think you found the handle you've been looking for. Man, you jumped right in the middle of this thing. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. I don't know what the handle is, you know. Everybody just got to go out there and they put their best foot out, and then whatever comes up, comes up. You know, if you get a good run, then it feels good.
There's a look at your current leader, Tom Means, the 92 NMRO Open Class champion, but perhaps his biggest challenge coming up right now, Mike Thomas, the 93 NMR Open Class champion, a winner of 5 events so far this season. He goes up against Kimball Shows out of Mississippi in the Pony Express. There's a look at the rear engine Mad Max.
I tell you, Tom Mintz is not the only one watching this kid. Everybody's laid everything they're doing down and walking over to the fence. They know Mike Thomas is in town.
Whoa! What a ride for Mike Thomas.
Not going to be here very long if he's going to keep going that fast. Do you believe that run? What's the time?
There's Kimball's time of 2:92. That's a respectable run right there.
Yeah, but that was
look
slow
at this
time in
one.
there.
2.59. No doubt about it. 2:59. And Tom says, whoop, I was fast, but not fast enough.
Let me ask you a question real quick. We were sitting there watching you watch him. Man, that guy, he's quick.
Yeah, he's really quick out the end.
Well, looking now at the standings will show Mike Thomas on top at 2:59. Tom Meents drops to second at 2:77. And Stanley Trimble now is third at 2.82. Well, let's go down now and talk to Mike Thomas.
Gary, real quick, we got Mike with us down in the pit area. I know you got to get over and get the other car. Thanks for stopping by. How did that run feel to you? It looked great.
Well, considering drawing last at the track on me, it did run good. I had to baby it off the line, and when I got it hooked up, I laid into it. It seemed like it did all right.
Your dad seemed to really give you some horsepower to make this thing go on the other end. As a matter of fact, it looked real light on the finish line end of the track.
Right, I mean, I got plenty of horsepower left. I wish the track was better where we could run a little harder, but, you know, you got to adjust to the track and conditions like this.
We'll let you get to your other car. Good luck to you.
Now, don't you run off, because we're coming right back to Indianapolis.
I never park up front of the parking lot. That's how door dings happen. The towels bug my wife. She calls me a tightwad, but I'm not a tightwad. I just don't want to scratch the upholstery. No, if people took care of their cars, they wouldn't have to keep buying new ones. Pure oil now. I change my own oil. Use Purelator filters. Pure oil later. Have to watch the dog up there. How legends live on Purelator. Oh, look, a nickel.
Jumpstart your heart twice this summer as the stars of NASCAR Winston Cup Racing invade Pocono Raceway for the June 12th UAW GM Teamwork 500 and the July 17th Miller Genuine Draft 500. Both races sold out in '93, so order now while tickets last. Call toll-free 1-800-RACEWAY. Operators standing by. For vacation information, call 1-800-POCONOS. If this doesn't get your heart started, nothing will.
It's nice to know that one phone call to a Farmers Insurance agent can cover home, auto, and life. So come in for a farmers-friendly review and make sure your insurance needs are covered, because you never know what could happen next.
With the Fenda four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Fall Nationals, a part of the B.F. Goodrich Performance Racing Series, these Jamborees offer a host of activities for the truck lover as well as the entire family. To find out when a Jamboree will be in your area, call or write the Special Events Promotion Company. Well, during our break, Mike Thomas made his second pass, this time in the bucket tee called Murphy's Law. And as the name would suggest, anything that can happen in mud racing, well, he was DQ'd, out of bounds.
He brought two bullets today. One of them hit the target. The other one is still going through the air somewhere. Mike Summers comes out with a 48 Fiat. It makes a 3-second pass, and look how straight he went until he got to the end with a little bump kick in the back of the car.
Look at that helmet, though, sticking out of the roll cage. I don't like that.
That's why you're not driving this car.
I guess. Biggest disappointment on the day, Steve Fireman in the chemical reaction near lane. This is the same car that Steve's brother Mike won the NMRO's 93 Cut Tire Championship in. Our final matchup pits Bill Odenwald, Lightfoot, a 32 Chevy Coupe with a Flow and Alky 511, against Ron Smith in Gold Fever. There's a look at Bill out of Decatur, Michigan. And he'll pull up alongside Ron Smith, also from Michigan, in Gold Fever.
You know, Smith runs one of these Fiats, and they've kind of got a battle of their own going as to see who can have the world's fastest Fiat. They win the race, that's fine. But bragging rights, they're trying to be the quickest Fiat. Quite a few of them starting to show up on the circuit now. Hey, we got a good run.
Oh, an excellent ride by both of these competitors. There's Ron's time, 3 seconds flat. A good run as we take a look at Bill's time of 3.01. And a look at the final standings. Mike Thomas wins it in Mad Max at 2:59. Then Tom Means Mud Patrol at 2:77. And Stanley Trimble in Bill's Rant at 2.82. And here is your winner. Army?
Gary, we opened the show talking to this young man, Mike Thomas, talking about how his dad, Enid Thomas, had passed the torch on to him and asked him could he carry the torch. Well, Mike, congratulations. You're not only the world record holder, you're the guy that just drilled them at Indianapolis. You did a great job.
Thanks, Army, and while I'm here, I'd like to thank Clements Automotive for helping me get here, and Sonny's, and Mom and Dad, and Richard's Transmission, and Mickey and Mark. If it wasn't for them, all I do is drive, and if it wasn't for them, all this wouldn't be possible. They don't get to be in the limelight like this, but you know yourself, it takes a lot more to racing than what you see. And I want to thank you, too.
Our congratulations to Mike Thomas. Well, Army, remember, we're in my hometown. Don't forget about that big cookout we're having at my place following the show. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news of an exciting video release from Diamond P Sports.
Bring the excitement.